All right, Fletcher Wheaton. I'm here with Oscar Ortiz, and today's going to be a really interesting topic on gentrification in Mexico. We're obviously in Cabo. I'm writing a book right now and on real estate in Mexico, and I kind of give my thoughts. I've explained this to you. I think you have gentrification in all parts of the world, but let's take it in Cabo. It was like a small village, and now it's kind of a blossoming city, and there's a lot of opportunity, and there's good and there's bad with that. So as I'm writing my thoughts on this, I said it's kind of unfair for me, even though I'm going to be a Mexican soon. I just got to,
Congratulations.
I just got to take the test, which I've been saying I was going to do for like 2 years. But it's unfair for me as an American. I felt I needed to get a local perspective. And this goes back to, I remember it's like there's good people that travel here and there's bad people. People come down here and they're complaining about the same things like traffic that happen in the States, And we were talking about this like over a year ago, and I said, you know what, I'm going to get Oscar on. So first of all, Oscar, you've been in Baja for a while. You're originally from Mexico City, right? You do a lot of outdoor tours around here, right? So it's a lot of like tourism activities.
Yeah, I'm originally from Mexico City, and I arrived here around 30 years ago, and it was totally different. Cabo, quite small, petite, and I have seen the opportunity of the growing, the develop, the change, the growing pain, the resilience of the town, and not only like the blooming of the tourism, but also like the natural disasters that the town has experienced. I'm very involved in the town and doing different things for the community, especially for the natural resources that we have in the area.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's one of the most important things. Like, this is such a beautiful area, and it is getting developed out, but like we can't let anybody just come in here and do what they want. So I'm like very sensitive to that aspect of it. So what are your thoughts on Americans and foreigners moving to this area? From my perspective, it's easy for me to say it's beneficial because I sell real estate, and a lot of my clients are Americans, Canadians coming down here. And I see for the most part, those are really good people that are, helping service providers, everybody's making a living. There's good and bad with everything. But what's your take on, foreigners moving to Mexico?
There is different angles on that matter. Like it's pretty good to have like investors, outsiders to come to the area and develop the area around Cabo. That provides like jobs and provides also like the value of the other place getting higher and everything. But from the perspective of the investment, and also for the perspective of culture, I think it's a great opportunity for both cultures to bring the best of each one of them, and not to see us from the differences, but to appreciate each other. Culture it goes beyond only the money that can provide like jobs and benefits for the locals, but we can also learn from each other. We can learn from your language. We can learn from building differently. You guys coming from first world country, no, and we are underdeveloped country, so we have a lot to learn from each other. But we are also coming from a huge culture, which has a lot of heritage and a lot of beautiful customs, and not only the culture, but also like the food, the traditions, and that's what make it very, very unique. And if we both meet in the middle, we can have this huge opportunity to enrich ourselves. That is from the cultural point of view. From the natural resources, is also important as we both use it, Mexicans and Americans and everything. They have like a mutual respect for the place that we live on, because although it can be like your second home or your third home or your only vacations and everything, you're visit to a part of the planet that provides you with some sense of peace, some sense of serenities, beauty in your eyes, and the awareness of how beautiful this planet and diverse is. So I think it's mutual from the locals to the foreigners to have that respect for each place that we go.
The first thing I thought of when you're like, hey, meet in the middle, is I was in our San Jose office yesterday, and one of our agents is on the phone, and he's talking about like rioting going on in LA, and it's about like deportation, and it's all racial and everything. It wasn't part of my life. So like down here, just having so many different cultures, like I don't really think of people as like, oh, that's an American, that's a gringo, that's, you know, a Mexican. It's more like everybody here is together, but you inevitably have, you know, people on each side that I think kind of do this. And I was giving you an example of when I took an Uber from the airport, and the guy was like complaining about foreigners to a certain extent. I was just kind of explaining, I'm like, hey, this development, you know, landowner, all this, the chain of events that led it to be sold to foreigners was a Mexican behind it. And a lot of times they profited like big time from it. So it's just seeing it like both ways, you know, and that's why I wanted to have you on here. So a lot of people that come down here, for example, it's like a retirement home. So they're in their, you know, let's say like 60s, right? Now I have a son and he's picking up English and Spanish. Your brain is like a sponge. When you're at retirement age, you know, picking up a second language isn't easy. So I speak Spanish fluently, and not that many Americans or gringos do, right? But I see a lot of people that try to, you know, and like sometimes I'll go out to eat with some of my family and they are speaking Spanish. And for me, it's like kind of painful, you know, if like the server's like busy and I'm like, man, like the guy knows perfect English, just tell him. And you were like, no, like we appreciate that. So what do you have to say about, you know, Americans, Canadians coming here and speaking Spanish, or like trying, you know?
I think it's always appreciating when you're making an effort. Again, you go to a different place to look different things, the different things that you have at home. No, will be very unfair for me like to go, well, not Miami, but in either California, but I don't know, probably New York.
Yeah.
And try to speak like Spanish all the time, no? And that will be very unfair to request the answer in
No,
Spanish.
and a lot of
You know?
people, a lot
And
of
a lot of
Americans
people
would be offended.
will be offended,
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
And so I think it's also empathy. The locals and I think Mexicans, we're very warm. We love to serve other people, and most of the industry that we are on it is on service, to serve other people, and that's why we have to learn another language, and which is great. I mean, to have two languages is much better than one, no?
Yeah.
But but for example, when we go and eat, and when somebody like try to make an effort to speak in Spanish, either a little bit and broken, you see in that person not like a laugh and everything. You see the effort that he's doing. And it happens to me in the beginning when I was learning English, and my broken English, when I was talking with the guests and the travelers, they helped me to correct my spelling and my word. I keep also learning, and it's very beneficial. You know, I think we are here to help each other. And when a guest goes to a restaurant and they say, muy caliente, por favor, or muy this, por favor, and this is, wow, it's admirable in my point of view.
Yeah.
Because he's making an effort. Come to a different country, different culture, and making an effort not to speak, but to blend with the culture. which is something that you are looking for when you visit another place. You are looking for to learn from the culture, the food, the traditions, the language, no? Because that way you can go back and then you can speak your experience, share your experience with some other people. And guess what? Avocado says aguacate. And hot is not only for warm, it's also caliente is not warm, it's or picante or different examples that you can share, especially when you're an adult, you share with little kids and they love it.
Yeah.
And then you plant a little seed on that little kid and says, well, I would like to visit that place one day with you, dad, or grandma or grandpa, no? And I think the visit of the place is not only the beautiful landscaping that we have, which is fantastic, but it's also the culture that we can learn, the customs from each other.
I remember when I first got here, I was at one of the hotels on Medano and walk up and I'm like, hey, yo quiero un nice café. And he's like, okay, what size? And I'm like, oh, grande. He's like, okay, what type of milk? And I'm like, leche deslactosada. And I'm like, hey man, we're in Mexico, right? And he told me, he's like, no man, I want to practice my English with you because it's my livelihood. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then another time it's el problema, right? Not la problema. So I remember a lot of times I'll be speaking with somebody. My Spanish is not perfect, right? So there's problems, but I'm good enough to keep a conversation going. And somebody's like, hey man, they'll be like, it's el problema. And I'm like, thank you. I'm like, man, nobody corrects me because it's they're so nice and they're appreciative of, and nobody really would, but I actually really appreciate that because I do want to get better at speaking Spanish. But it's good to know that because I sometimes feel that maybe an American that's trying, if you're super drunk and you're slurring, okay, one thing, but if somebody's making an honest effort, it's really not holding anybody up. It's appreciated.
When you go and eat and you come from other part of the country in the United States, it is fine to ask. It is fine to ask the server, hey, can I practice my Spanish with you? Because sometimes we do that we feel embarrassed. And behind embarrassed is the ego, to make it wrong or to make mistakes. But in making mistakes is how we learn. Believe me, I say a lot of words in English and I steal, and that's how we learn. But I think only if we lower our guard and then we say, hey, it is okay if I practice my Spanish with you? Oh, ¿cómo se dice? That is very easy, no? Tortilla, we are very happy to share that. And vice versa, no? Excuse me, how do you say café con hielo? No? Oh, that's on the rocks, or iced coffee, or oh, thank you. That's what I'm saying. We meet in the middle and we enrich each other. I think the only thing that a little magic thing that is missing in between is the willingness to learn from each other and to ask.
Yeah. You mentioned the mistakes, man. I can remember so many times when I was studying abroad. I remember I was this in Buenos Aires and it's raining. And I run into the dorm that I'm staying, and it's a bunch of people in the front. They're like, damn, this guy was soaking. And I'm like, hey, estoy mojado. And they look at each other and they're like, hey man, don't say it again. That's got a sexual innuendo. I was like, oh, okay,
Another
And then another time it was I remember it was Spider-Man 3 and I called it Hombre Rana 3. And they were like, what? And I was like, okay, now I know it's araña, not rana, and I still remember I was reading Harry Potter and I was like, why are the lechuza or lechuga, why is lettuce flying? And I was like, oh, well, it's a book on magic, maybe that's why. And I was like, okay, but those are the things how you learn with immersion and trying. So I like that aspect. I've got 2 questions. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Now, this one I didn't really give you a chance to look at, but what would be your biggest complaint from having an expat live here? Because I've seen it where people can be bad here. And I think that's it. I think it kind of goes both ways, but it could be as simple as somebody who just like goes to a resort and stays there. Or is it somebody who's just not going to like try, or what maybe would you say is probably something that would bother you? Because like I said, there's a lot of people, locals, that would have something to say about, foreigners. And I think it all comes from like a honest thing, whether it's true or not. So is there anything in particular that you think, something that like foreigners do that they could change?
I think we all learning the process, and it's not the same when you travel when you're 20, when you're 30, 40,
Yeah.
50, or 60, because your conscience is changing, and so is your experience. Would be very unfair to ask a 50-year-old for one thing because he doesn't have that mature conscience.
Yeah.
But for an adult, you can perhaps say something, uh, about it. I think is all comes with mutual respect
Yeah.
and empathy. And I believe like it doesn't matter the color of your skin or where you come from and everything. In my opinion, I think we're all the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot put a Mexican baby, an American baby, an African baby, a Chinese baby, and say this one is worth more. It doesn't matter. I think we are all the same size. We are all have red blood. We are all have dreams. We all have sorrows. We all have anxieties. We all have goals to achieve in life. No, but I think some people are more fortunate than others.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that. I think just to be empathy with each other, that helps a lot.
Just as an American, growing up in the United States, sometimes Americans can complain about things and they don't understand how good they have it. We're talking about traffic, and it's like, man, you go to the state, go to Los Angeles and go to the traffic. It's terrible, right? So it's like they're complaining about things that are the same back home. So me as an American here, talking about just people visiting and stuff, like you said, I think the biggest thing is being respectful. What advice would you give somebody who's just moving here and like wants to do, wants to get more involved in the community, I guess, and wants to be somebody that, a Mexican national will be like, hey, this is my amigo, right? And maybe they don't know what to do. Maybe that's somebody that's in Palmilla or Carencia, and they're just kind of almost in an expat, community, or that's somebody like that. Like, what would you recommend? Is there like service work? Is there, or just being a good person, or what?
No, that's very interesting. I have the opportunity to give a talk in a hotel for a company. This company, they were traveling in a couples, almost in their 40s, and they have like a great income. And something that I didn't understand is I was just sharing about the beauty of the country, the beauty of the place, what we have and everything. And something very interesting came out from the other side, from one of the people who was participating, that says at the end, he says, Oscar, is you probably don't understand, but I'm kind of like the neighbor who's like behind the fence looking at you, and I want to eat what you eat. I want to get the groceries where you have it. I want to taste the food that you make in your home, because that's something that I don't have. And I would love to now be willing to pay in order to have that experience. But I'm afraid that because my color, I will be taken advantage. I will be being ripped off, or simply not to fit in.
Yeah.
No, and I say, wow, yeah, that's probably it. No, it's probably a fear of being taken advantage. and that can happen anywhere in the world. No, but I think give yourself like a time. If you buy like a home right here, and it's only not only the beautiful walls that you have and the furniture and everything, but why do you have it here? I think it's the 5% of what you're getting is the home. The 99% or 95% of the rest of the value is what is in your back, in your left, and your right, in the mountains, in the islands, with the people. And go out there and explore. Go out there and explore because it is like somebody invite you a beautiful, wonderful buffet, and you are in the door with a napkin and a cookie.
Yeah.
And you're missing the rest of it.
It's
You're missing it.
You just made me think. There's this guy. He lives in the Seattle area, and he was doing like high-end home renovate, like speakers and like golf simulators. And he's like, "Hey, do you know how I can like get doing this?" And about a year later, I spoke to him, and I was like, "Well, how's it going?" And he's like, "Well, dude, everybody wants to be outside here." He's like, "So I figured out that like, installing a $20,000 golf simulator, it might work for some people, but most people are like, hey, drop your stuff off and go to your favorite restaurant, and then go do this." We spoke about this too. We'll end with this too. I don't want to go on too far for your time, but like, Baja up and down. I've been here for almost a decade, and I remember 2 years ago I went to a place below La Paz, and I was like, this is like less than 2 hours away from where I sleep every night, and I had no idea this existed. And like, I get out, so I know there's so many spots in Baja, let alone someone like you, where it's like, hey, I'll be like, Oscar, where's that photo? Where is that? And you're like, well, it's like, that's a top secret. You were telling me the other day that you went to a place and the lady was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you're like, 10 people have been here. I was like, man, this is cool. Getting outside is a perfect way to support and be part of, I think.
That's another important thing is like, be aware if you're at home, you're in your comfort zone, and it's okay if it's hot or everything, but not all the year is hot. But when you go outside with your travel, you can also like help the economy of the outside towns that they are right there, north, south, or east, west. You can learn from each other, buy honey from the locals, like cheese from the ranchers. That little dollar or that little cents and everything, it can make the big difference from that people who want that take their children to the school. You can help the economy, and then you can learn from it, and you will be falling in love of what you getting is way more. Like just your house is only the cookie of the buffet.
Yeah, that's what got you here. But
yes,
like,
exactly. But what is out there it depends on the year. I mean, depends on the of the season. Is the places that you can visit, and you will be amazed of what you can experience at your home.
I could go on and on about this, man. I was at somebody's house the other day, and he built this, but this has been going on. He bought this lot in 2020, and he told me, he's like, hey, I'm going up to Todos Santos for the first time, and he was like, I'm gonna buy art from like the locals. I heard that's a good place to do it. And I was just kind of shocked that he hadn't been up to, and that's what I told him. I said, man, you are literally just about to start becoming a local now. I'm like, yeah, go up there, have a good time, support it, like eat at the restaurants, and you're going to be learning these different places as you go forward. And that's what I'm saying. Those are the type of people that are, in my opinion, welcome by anyone around the world, wherever you go. Those people that are like supporting, and they're not like flexing, or they're not, So I just wanted to get another Mexican's perspective. We're going to do another, and I'll let you close with something before if you want to. We're going to do another one specifically just on your tours. I think that's going to be super interesting. And at the beginning of the video, we're gonna show your Instagram's like your main way of kind of getting your message out, right?
Yeah, that's where I post most of the travels that I do, and
It's insane, by
I
the
do
way. You have like really
thank you.
cool.
I do like special trips and experiences for the guests. It's not just like a tour, like a 20 people or 100 people go to the same place, take the photo, and come back. No, this is more like tours are for tourists, which tourists can be from 1 to 100. For example, like massive tourists, which for me that's another topic.
Yeah, like you're getting off the bus with your fanny pack and you're going in.
And exploration and everything, that's for travelers. Exploration is more deep, that you can look not only for the beautiful photo, but also for understanding the geological formation, the indigenous who were right here living before, why this town has this name, when this mission was made, what are the mangoes in the middle of Baja, and on and on and on. So with these kind of like experiences, you get to know all these different treasures that they are right there for everybody.
Yeah.
No, and just imagine yourself, you just wake up in the morning, 6 a.m., drive like a hour and a half, go and swim with the biggest fishes in the ocean, the world shark, for like an hour, taking photos and swimming next to it and everything. You finish, get your fish tacos and everything, come back, have a shower. Then at night, you're just like, before sunset, you're having a dinner in a beautiful restaurant right there.
Yeah.
Wow, that can be your life.
Yeah.
And that's like wonderful. Not in many places you can do that.
Yeah. And to be honest, this is what I come from New Orleans, where there's tourist trap. Like you're saying, if somebody does a tour with you, it's the exact opposite of a tourist trap area.
Definitely. Where it's
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like a machine where it's like, hey, they're picking them up from this resort. We're going to go eat at this restaurant because I know this guy's going to like throw this. It's like, no, you're passionate about this. You're like, I'm going to show you something that you're not going to experience if you weren't with me. And that is cool.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into that on a deeper level. But anyway, I'll let you close it from here.
Yeah, because I really want to get to know your name. I not just become one more number that come and visit and one more picture.
Yeah.
You know, I have the opportunity to have like a guest from 20, 30 years, and they come back with the next generations.
Yeah.
And we keep doing different things, and the friendship it gets more tighter, no? And that's a beautiful way to interact with the travelers, no? And then that's my way to give back to this place that has given me so much.
Nice. So yeah, if you're watching this and you want anything in particular about Baja, let us know and we'll get on that on the next one, which is just going to be tourism based stuff because you have some really cool stories on that. Oscar, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.